Okay.
That way we can still see you and you're not blocked by
Here I
anything
am.
going on.
By
There
the
she is.
sunflowers. You can tell the sunflowers match.
Yes, fantastic. So I'm going
Awesome.
to put myself up here at the top, switch Brian back out so we can see everybody here because everyone knows
Perfect.
me. We're good.
Perfect.
So, Michelle, please share with us, right, the differentiation of
Yeah.
our business and going forward, your expertise, so that we can make, some magic ourselves.
Perfect. Thanks so much again. This is great. So
Pleasure.
differentiation is a passion of mine. It always has been. I think I was born with this embedded in my blood from the time I was a very little girl. I have always felt very, very strongly from as long as I can remember about being a unique individual and really tapping into our unique creative genius to be as valuable as possible to the world. So I've got a couple of quotes here that really just set the stage for this conversation around whether you are in sales, whether they're commission sales, product sales, whether you're in marketing, branding, or whether you're selling or offering advice in any format. If you are delivering value to the world through products or services, this will hopefully give you some thinking framework. First thing I want you to remember is that you were born an original, don't die a copy. This is a phenomenal grounding quote from John Mason. You really were born an original. Nobody is like you. And even if you're selling products like everybody else, or even if you're selling services that match everybody else's, you are still an original. And so don't copy how others are doing it, because your way is going to be different. The second one is another piece in this. In differentiation, not in uniformity, lies the path of progress. And this was a quote actually in the 1850s, if you can imagine. So we're going back a very long time. Differentiation is not a new thing, but it is definitely something that we want to be thinking about when we think about making progress and being creative with the value that we can bring to the market. So what I want to help us do today is distinguish very specifically between two key concepts, because they often get confused: strategic differentiation and marketing differentiation. They are distinctly different, and they are often conflated or misunderstood. So what I want to help you do today is we're going to walk through the differences, the key difference between marketing and strategic differentiation, and then we're going to move into some very specific examples. And then we're going to finish with a framework that allows you to identify where you have opportunity to differentiate more substantially to create more value for your customers and clients. So we're going to offer you some thinking frameworks, some big conceptual ideas that you can then make your own because only you can do that for you, and turn your business on its head in terms of the value you create and how you differentiate against your competitors.
Okay, I'm excited. Everyone that's on the panel, the VIPs, are all entrepreneurs.
Awesome.
And so when it comes to how do you differentiate yourself, this is going to be good.
Exactly. And I've spent years and years and years decoding this. So thanks again. I'm really excited to share it. This is my passion stuff. So let's talk about marketing differentiation first. When we think about marketing differentiation, it's very important to understand that as per the dictionary, it is an aggregate of functions involved in moving goods. This is critical. In moving goods from producer to consumer. I've featured Adidas here because they are exceptionally good at this, at moving goods from producer to consumer. When we contrast that with strategic differentiation, on the other hand, what this means is all the things a company does. Now, company can be individual, salesperson, change the language to make it suit you. All the things a company does to create a unique and mutually rewarding value exchange between the consumer and the producer. Now, notice that differentiation, and when it's strategic, is a value exchange as opposed to just moving goods or moving services from the producer to the consumer. So we're really going to talk about the nuance in this difference. But before we do that, I want to show you why I'm featuring the difference between Adidas and Nike as an example. And this applies to individual solopreneurs selling advice right through to the largest companies in the world. Brand value. When we're thinking about brand value, we look at Adidas in the bottom of the graph from left to right. From 2010 to the right-hand side of the graph, we go to 2021. Adidas graph is the black, and it's on what I've featured there is on the bottom. It says Adidas, strive to be the global leader in the sporting goods industry. This is what they're setting out to do. This is their platform, right? What their goal is. Now, in contrast to that, let's look at what Nike has said, the blue line, where they have $42 billion in brand value as compared to Adidas at 13. Nike says, we bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Notice the difference, right? Adidas is about moving product. It's about being the best. It's about them. Nike is about the value exchange, inspiration and innovation to athletes globally.
Yeah, theirs includes the client base.
Yes. Yes, it's the value exchange. And they are very focused on the value they are delivering and creating for, in this case, every athlete in the world, right? So when we think about strategic differentiation, this is the drastic difference that most of us, when we think of differentiation, we think of it as a marketing initiative. I want you to think of it more as a system, an ecosystem inside your business that is encompassing everything you do. So we're going to talk about the 4 forces of strategic differentiation, which is IP that we have created through years and years of research. And we've essentially decoded what differentiation looks like. So we're going to go through this real quick, and then I'm going to go through each one of these specifically with you. So going top left over, we start on the top left above the line. You can see the arrows to the right. Above the line, we have platform on the top left. Then we move over to process on the right above the line. Below that, below the line, we move into personality on the bottom left and purpose on the bottom right. So these are the 4 forces that are inside the system of your business and your offer and your value proposition, if you will. This is the ecosystem that is contributing to your value system. And we want you to be thinking of all 4 pieces when you're differentiating and creating value for the market. So let's keep going. Let's start with platform. I like to call platform the what. And if you want to clarify what platform is, it essentially means what your promise is, what your offer of value is, what your delivery is, what it is that you are bringing to the market. I like to think of it a platform. Politicians often have a platform. When they are trying to distinguish and differentiate themselves from others, they have very specific things in their political campaign that they highlight and that they stand on, if you will, the platform they stand on. You also have a platform, whether you're an individual solopreneur working for a company or an employee, it doesn't matter. Nike, their core platform is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. This is their promise. So I want you to be thinking of what you promise to the world. This is your platform. This also could include things like your guarantees and the things that you are offering, right? So your platform is a big part of it. Now, this is at the essence of it all. But what gets really juicy is when you start thinking about the other components. The platform is one thing. And what I'm going to encourage those of you who are selling product, if you're selling product, I encourage you to think about your platform as your own offer. So how do you bring those products to market in a way that's valuable for your buyers, right? How do you do that? What is it that is your unique style? Why do you choose to represent these products? What is it about these products that is valuable to you that you think is really important, that you can highlight, that is going to make them different? In terms of services, you also want to do the same thing. Because even though you're offering a service, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I'm a coach. Coaches are a dime a dozen. There are hundreds of thousands of coaches in the world. And so if we're going to distinguish ourselves from one to the other, part of my platform, a big part of my platform, is around differentiation and value propositions and how you compete, right? So although I'm a coach, I have a very specific angle, and everything I'm going to be offering in my coaching practice is going to be revolving around competitive advantage, being valuable, and being a different coach from others, so that you are creating a differentiated offer. Want to stop there? Any questions, Joe? Am I missing anything that you'd like me to cover so far? How are we doing?
No, I'm just trying to scribble as many notes as I can.
Awesome. So, okay.
No, all right. Fantastic. So like looking at what you have, right?
Yeah.
Brian is a speaker and a trainer. right? Bob has products and services. JR is the financial guy that can help you build your business,
Nice.
right? I have services and some products. Netta has products.
Great.
Right, to look at it. So I'm looking at and writing it down. So like you said, competitive advantage is yours. And I was like, well, I'm copying that, right? Because my offering should explain that you're getting a competitive advantage over the other people, where the offer or the guarantee for your physical product that comes out, that's going to build the value for the buyer. Am I right?
Right. There too. Yeah. So we've got more, right? So this is part of the value. The services you provide, the products you provide, these are part of your platform and part of your value, but they're not the whole thing. So let's keep moving. This is where process comes in. So your processes are, this is important. Your processes are the way that you do things so that you are consistently delivering on your platform and your promises. Your processes support you to create a really high integrity ecosystem of value, right? So the four forces of the whole system, your processes are your methodology or your approach. In Nike's case, they have very specific examples of how they hire, or sorry, not examples, but processes for how they hire. And they also have, these are just a couple things I grabbed. In operations management, they have 10 key decision areas. Right? So for you have processes and methodologies that support you to be valuable consistently and predictably. You probably have dozens of these. The ones that you want to bubble up to the top are the ones that you do consistently, repeatedly, and that you're compelled to do often and well, because these things are important to you. This particular flow, this particular structure, this particular design may be very important to you in order to set you up for success in your engagement with your client, or in the client onboarding of a customer, right, with your product. So these are your processes. I would encourage you to have at the very least 2 or 3, and in the perfect world, you give them a name. So in our example, we have our 3-step referral system. We have our business differentiation blueprint program. These are methodologies that support us to deliver consistent and predictable repeat client experiences that create trust, create loyalty, and create more value because people know what's coming. So these are your processes. Let's keep going now. Remember, these are above the line. Now, what happens above the line? We're talking about basic service here. If you haven't yet read Joseph Michelli's book, he's the author of The Airbnb Way, among others. He's got a ton of really great books. He says basic service drives customer satisfaction. Basic service plus emotional engagement drives loyalty and referrals. Okay. So this is where what we've been talking about is basic service. Above the line in the 4 forces, platform and process are all essential ingredients for you to even be in the game, right? You got to be good at this. You got to be strong. You've got to be predictable. You've got to be consistent. You got to do a good job. But it's not going to keep you with loyal customers, and it's not going to create gushing fans. So what happens below that line that we talked about earlier? Let's go bottom left, personality. Personality is the style that you bring. In Nike's example, Nike is the hero for you. They are wanting you to be your own hero, and they are wanting to support you. So they are your hero for you to become your own hero. They represent bravery, mastery, strength, power. These are things that we, if we're a fan of Nike, want to align ourselves with. We may not be a fan of Nike because these personality traits may not be as important to us. We may not resonate with that personality, and that's okay.
If you have an accounting firm, you're not looking for those as the biggest values to build.
Not necessarily. It could be.
Right.
It actually could be. So this is the thing about accounting
My
firms.
accountant should not be brave. That just sounds like an audit to me.
It could be. And you know
So
what? You may not want that brave accountant, but I guarantee you that there are buyers out in the market who are looking for accountants who will take risks on their behalf because they're comfortable with it, right? So for an accountant to be brave, it may actually be a value proposition that will be taking the kind of risks that the customers or clients want them to take without putting them at significant risk. So these are, different scales, but that's a good point, Joe. So what I'm encouraging here is that in your own personality style, like here's me, right? You're getting a sense of my personality style. If you haven't already figured it out, I'm pretty intense and I'm also quite direct. I'm incredibly enthusiastic and I'm really encouraging. So these are kind of personality traits that you're going to get from me no matter what. This is not going to resonate with everybody. And that's okay. Because when we step into our greatest personality traits, again, the things that help set us up for success, right? When we start bringing forward those personality traits, we start attracting the customers and clients who are really wanting to be supported with that kind of dynamic energy, whatever it is, whether you're analytical, quiet, thoughtful, and deep into the deep processes and whatnot, totally okay. You're going to present completely different from me or from others, from Nike, and you're going to attract a very different type of buyer, right? So these are personality traits that you're wanting to think about yourself. Don't try to be like others, just be yourself. So when personality, here's a great example that I can share with you where personality was dramatic. I worked several years ago. This is on my website, actually. The case study is on our website if you care to go look at it. Worked with an insurance advisor here in Vancouver. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. We worked together probably about 10 years ago for about 3 years. But it took about 6 to 12 months for the real intense stuff to happen. And what happened was this particular advisor, like most insurance advisors, was very well accredited, was participating on a number of different boards across the country, was nationally well known, was doing everything right, above the line, right? His platform process, phenomenal, was doing everything right. Now, when we got into personality, what I came to understand about this individual, his name's Bernie. What I came to understand about Bernie is that he was a master of meditation and valued mindfulness and meditation and had spent a whole year in silence in Asia in his 20s. I was like, that's curious. So I said to him, who knows about this? He said, nobody. This is behind closed doors. I'm like, okay.
The hidden me. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The hidden me, right? So I won't get into the details, but let's fast forward to today. Now, at that time, Bernie was wearing, just like other insurance advisors, the professional uniform, I call it. He was wearing the suit and tie and did everything right. His office was very professional with the proper boardroom and the executive office and the whole bit. He looked the part. Now, keep in mind, insurance, life insurance, is one of the most traditional, old school industries on the planet, very slow to change. Today, Bernie's office the boardroom was converted to a yoga room for meditation and yoga practice. His wall in his now office, which no longer has the same kind of setup, has a massive Buddha and a great path of enlightenment as a mural on the wall. Starts meetings with 5 minutes of meditation, and his business has exploded. It took 6 months for him to start attracting the kind of community that valued what he was bringing forward through the personality of his business. Now, keep in mind, he's still selling insurance. Nothing has changed. His product lineup hasn't changed. His platform and process fundamentally haven't changed. They're exactly the same. And his business has exploded. So this is the power of personality when you start to understand. This is an extreme example, obviously, with mindfulness and meditation coming into insurance, but it's a great example of how resistant. He said to me, you're telling me that I should bring mindfulness meditation into insurance with my peers across the country who are going to laugh and make fun of me, essentially. And I said, yes, trust me, this will work. right? Now, he did trust me. He had the courage that it took to do what he needed to do. And it took
He probably did a meditation on it.
He did a meditation on it. Exactly. Right. So what he learned through that process is, yes, he did turn away some existing clients and he did turn away some followers. But what happened was he attracted so many more like-minded, gushing fans and advocates that they were leaning in so heavily into what he was doing and wanting to be surrounded by his presence and the type of personality he was bringing to the table. It changed his business completely. So if like I said, his case studies on my website, and there are links there to his website if you'd like to explore that further. But that's the power of personality. So let's keep going. We're 225.
And I'm sure he's much happier.
Oh,
going to work.
Yes. So I know I can share this because they've told me, but it took less than a year and a half, couple of years, not even 2 years. It was less than 2 years. But his wife shared with me. She said, I will be forever grateful for you because you gave me my husband back. He's unbelievably happy, happy because now he's completely genuine. Oh, and by the way, he wears a Patagonia t-shirt and a pair of jeans and a pair of Birkenstocks to every meeting, more or less. So he's no longer in the suit. All part of, right? So again, personality. So let's move on. Now, what happened there as well? So with purpose, a lot of people, purpose is really trendy. It's a really big thing right now. And there is great value in purpose if it's properly understood in its role in the ecosystem, in this system of strategic differentiation that we've been talking about. So when you understand the role of purpose and what purpose actually means, it can be incredibly powerful for you. Most people and most companies are not going through the deep dive thinking that they need to in order to really, truly understand what their purpose is. So let's talk about Nike here. Moving the world forward through the power of sport. There's a couple of things I want you to notice here, right? As opposed to their platform, which is about bringing innovation to athletes around the world, right? This one is moving the world forward through the power of sport. This one is about impact. This one is about making a significant and meaningful difference. And the way they are doing it is through the athletic attire and the sponsorships and all the other things that they're doing, but their purpose guides everything. Are they successful in moving the world forward through the power of sport? What you'll notice here is that the purpose is a never-ending journey. There is no end point. The horizon moves. You'll never, ever, ever get there, right? Purpose is something where you are focused on creating good and having the impact that is meaningful to you. So as an example, in Bernie's case, it's all about what he calls enlightened continuity. And again, you'll see more on his website. In my case, it's all about inspiring greatness. I want every person I touch to feel unbelievably self-confident, self-worthy, and very, very empowered by the value that they can create in the world. That's my thing, right? That's the purpose for a transformation catalyst. Now, when you think about your own purpose, a lot of people think that when it gets too big, like inspire greatness, for example, it gets too big. If it gets too big, they feel like it's not valuable. But here's what it does for you. If you understand that your purpose is to inspire greatness, right? The way that I do that is through my platform. My platform is around differentiation, value propositions, and competitive advantage. That's my way in my work, right? But I do that every day, all day long. I can't help it. So what we want to do is find the thing, and there might be a few, but what you'll find is a lot of this tactical stuff that you do, or a lot of the places that your attention tends to go, they're probably all circling around something purposeful that you haven't yet put your finger on. The minute you put your finger on it, you now understand the most valuable thing you want to create for the benefit of the world. And the minute you understand what that is, you're much better equipped to refine your system, to focus your system, to support you to create exponential value, to really stand in your strength and your zone of genius, and to step into new opportunities to create value that you haven't yet considered. This is the value of purpose. And it's really only valuable if it serves you that way. If you have a purpose that doesn't ignite something in you and help you feel like you're making a meaningful difference, then it's the wrong purpose. It may be a platitude. It may be that you haven't gone deep enough with it. It may be that you haven't yet gone inside yourself and figured out that clarity, but there's something missing. I promise you that. There's opportunity there for you. So what I want to offer is this idea that the 4 forces of differentiation, it goes from on the above the line, where it's really about the brain and logic and rational decision making. If you are operating very strongly above the line in your platform and process, what's happening is you are engaging with your community of buyers, your network, you're engaging with them at a rational level. And they haven't yet connected at an emotional level with the real value that you can and will create by going through a personality and purpose exercise for yourself. When the whole system is serving the whole system, right? When everything's coming to center, as it shows in the diagram, you've got heart and head in action. And you're creating a truly differentiated offer. And here's the thing about it. Nobody else can do it. It's uniquely yours. Nobody. I mean, I'll use myself as an example, right? Nobody can coach like I can coach. Nobody can do this. You can take all my IP. You can take all my material. You can copy it. You can do whatever you like with it. But there's not a chance that anyone will do it like I do it. Now, granted, there may be people who do it better. And I have work to do if that's the case, right? And that's okay, because competitive advantage creates innovation and makes us stronger. But what I want to offer is this. The more you stay focused on your value proposition, the more you stay focused on the value exchange and see the 4 forces and strategic differentiation as your path to do so, the stronger and more competitive you will get. And the more nuanced and refined your offer will be, and the deeper and greater your value you will become. So I want to leave it there, and I want to just finish with this. Not everything resonated with you. I'm guaranteeing that. It would be unusual for everything to resonate with everyone, and that's totally okay. What I want to encourage you to do is to absorb what is useful, discard what is useless to you, and add what is specifically your own. And from here, I would like to open it up to questions, conversation, dialogue, and I would just want to thank everyone for being here and allowing me to
Michelle,
share.
this was amazing. I have all these notes, and I'm not going to say that all of it resonated with me because you said it wouldn't.
Exactly.
But, I did sit down, right? I wrote down, I have my little forces, right?
Great.
I have that down, and then I started, and I broke out each one as you go through. I started writing down purpose. Okay. And so when I'm done, I'm going to go to ChatGPT and talk to it about me being the, what are my purpose statements and what have you.
There you go.
I have AI as a business partner in one of my threads.
Nice.
So it knows
Beautiful.
everything about me in the business, but it already wrote me a couple. I'm like, no, okay, let me get back. Michelle's still talking. Yes. But,
Yeah,
so I
thank you.
loved the correlation to Nike, right? For a long time, Nike has always been examples I use of a company that goes through. So it was good to refresh that and come back in. One of the points I'll make too is that what I learned many, many years ago when it comes to above the line, right? And your customer satisfaction, I define customer satisfaction as they're not against you.
Right.
That's the only thing customer satisfaction gets you, is that they're not against you. So I'm not mad at you, and I'm sure Tech not a raving fan, right? If you go through a fast food drive-through and you open up the bag after you paid and it's exactly what you wanted, you don't go, you know what? Let me leave a Yelp review for this place.
Right.
Right? Because why? You delivered exactly what I expected. So I'm not against you. But if you were to give me bad food, then I'd be fueled enough to go
Yeah.
against you and write a bad review.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah.
So I do want to open up questions to like Netta, Bob, JR, Brian, if you wish. So, but I'm looking down. How long? You said you have exercises for the actual purpose driven, what to go for. Where does somebody find those? Right? Did they just reach out to you on the website that's going across?
We got a couple of things, a couple of ways to engage. Of course, there's the one-to-one coaching, which I would help you define that directly, specifically. We also have our community Expand, we call it. And Expand community is really about helping everybody sort of reconnect with this content in much deeper ways as a community to support further reflection and create more value for yourself and your community at large as we create more value and create a value exchange there. So that's our Expand community. And then we also have our 3-step referral system, which is a self-study thing. So you can go to our website, and that the 3-step referral system really talks about how do you become referable? How do you increase the value exchange? And also, how do you actually get referrals without asking? So really about the value exchange and understanding who you're being. I have a couple of metrics that I use around this, Joe, that can be really useful for all of you who are listening. The first one is around if you have clients who, to your point, Joe, who are not against you, want you to really think about how many are actually leaning in. Now, the metaphor for that is really, truly leaning in. What we want to see is an emotional response. So I would say a leaning out, like really, this is not for me. This is an offer that doesn't resonate. It's not quite for me. Leaning out, that's okay. Because for the people that are leaning out, you're also going to get people to lean in. When people lean in, they're saying, you're making a lot of sense. I like what you're saying. This is powerful, and I value this. If you're getting what I call a neutral stance, there is virtually no emotional engagement. And neutral is almost as dangerous as leaning out, right? Neutral means I don't really care. And if there's a better offer that comes, I'm there. If someone else makes it easier, it will be easy change, right? That neutral response is something to be really cognizant of in your client base and the customers that you're selling to, because they're at risk, right? The second thing I want to offer is, as a metric for you to be thinking about, is around referrals. If you have been in business for quite some time and you are not receiving unsolicited a fairly healthy stream of referrals, I'm going to offer that there's probably something wrong in your system. There's something that you're either doing or not doing that is inhibiting your ability to receive referrals without your even knowing. Because of course we all want referrals, but very often we do things or don't do things that send messages that to the market that referrals are not welcome. We do these things by accident, right? So these are pieces to notice. The other thing is, if you're getting lots of referrals, this is your third metric. If you're getting lots of referrals and introductions that are unsolicited, that is phenomenal. That's fantastic. You've got a lot of people leaning in and they are gushing and they want to support you because they love what you're doing. However, if they're unqualified referrals, what that tells us is that your gushing clients and customers don't actually really understand what you do. They don't understand your client avatar in our language. They don't understand who is your ideal profile so that you can be as valuable as possible. They want to help. They don't know how. So if you're getting unqualified referrals, again, there's something that you're doing or not doing in your system that is creating some cloudiness for your existing clients and network because they don't know who to send to you. Right.
Right.
So
exactly. They don't understand who to give you or who to talk to, and they're going to give you whoever they think they can have influence over, as opposed to someone who's dead on what you need.
Exactly. In terms of purpose exercises, there's no lack of resources online. If you just Google, how do I figure out my purpose? If you want to do that on your own, there are no lack of resources available to you. And any of them will be good. It really involves a reflection around what's important to you and just paying really, really close attention to where your attention goes and what lights you up. Where do you get intrigued or interested? I have a client who was very much interested in art and music. And he's a financial advisor, actually. And he introduced art and music into his practice and started using musical terminology and started using, instead of financial language, started using musical terminology, changed his business. Because, of course, he was having more fun. He was attracting a ton of musicians, right? And he wanted to bring more joy and more access to the just financial well-being through art and understanding how finances are like art. It was really cool, right? Just changed it all together.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love that.
It can be done.
I think this has been like one of the biggest eye-opening podcasts and group meetings that we've had. And I love it. And I thank you for bringing the A game and dropping it in on all of us. So do we have questions for anybody that's in the group? Because you know me, I just keep asking. So but
I have a question. Michelle, thanks for the information you shared.
Yeah.
What if you could pick one of those 4 quadrants that you feel people don't pay enough attention to, which one would it be?
Personality. It's often misunderstood as relationships. It's like, I'm an advisor, for example. I hear this all the time in professional services, but even in salespeople. I have a good relationship, right? We're good. That's not personality. That's relationship. They're very, very different. Personality is drastically misunderstood and even more drastically undervalued.
Yeah.
So that can be a massive turning point for people. A great question, Bob. Thank you for asking it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. First of all, it was lovely, but it was like drinking out of a hydrant, trying to sip out of a hydrant at times.
Yeah.
You have remarkable outbursts of sheer brilliance, and I'm going, whoa, I can only eat so many pecan pies in one sitting, But
that's why it's recorded, JR. You're good.
There you go.
I know. I played
Play
it
it
slow.
back at 0.25.
But so this expand community, is this something that's sort of a weekly collective that people can come in on and participate in, or is this you have to be inside of the community and per pay-per-view with that?
Yeah. You're in our community. It's a membership-based community. And as I like to say, you get what you put in. And the community requires, community benefits and needs the membership to be active. So we meet every second Wednesday. We're just getting started. So this is relatively new. But we meet roughly a couple of times a month. We meet a couple of times a month. And what we're talking about is all the stuff embedded in and beyond, of course, but around this type of idea. How do I do this kind of strategic differentiation and create more value in the market? So, but we want people to come stay with us. And as I like to say, stay as long as it's valuable. When it's not valuable anymore, that's okay. That's on me. Or maybe we don't resonate anymore. We've delivered.
And you have a newsletter on your page too, for those that want to baby step in.
Yeah.
Right. Go to the page down at the bottom and get that one.
Exactly.
And Netta has something.
And really there's a ton of content on our YouTube channel as well. So if you'd like to subscribe to that, and we also have an entire library of new videos that are coming in the next 3 to 6 months. So lots much more content coming to the YouTube channel as well. So that's probably where you'll see most activity. And I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with me there and just get a sense of what I'm doing there, I'm also quite active. That's the best places to find me. YouTube asynchronously, LinkedIn more online in a sort of engagement style, and then of course through our website. And if you really want to be closer, we've got our expand community, and we've got our one-to-one coaching as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Netta, do you have a question or no?
No question. I just had a comment. I love that you picked 2 very successful companies to compare, and they both have different approach. Neither is wrong, and they're both successful. So I love that you picked it that way. There's nothing negative about either one. They were both positive. They're both successful, and they have complete different approach in every quadrant that you had. So I love that. So
awesome. Yeah. That's the biggest thing is thank you for pointing that out, Nita. I think a lot of us are fearful that, like Bernie, if I bring meditation into the insurance industry, they're going to think I'm off my rocker,
Mhm.
right? I'm going to lose everybody's respect. And in fact, the
Mhm.
exact opposite happened,
Right.
right? But I think most of us are in a place of fear, and understanding that your ability to create value in your way is far greater than you can possibly imagine if you allow yourself to step into that zone of genius and allow yourself to create that, what I call the lean in, lean out environment in your network, where people are either clearly not that interested because you're just not for them, and that's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
And others are really clearly interested because you are resonating across all channels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone can be successful.
Yeah.
In my world, everyone can be successful.
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
perfect. Thank
Great.
you so much. I encourage
you.
everybody at least go to the website, click on the newsletter so you can stay in her sphere,
Thank you.
right? But
Yeah.
go to the website, look at the one-on-one coaching, look at being part of the online group, right? And get as much of Michelle as you can, because it's not going to be detrimental to your business. So
Nope. That's
Perfect.
that's the job.
Great to meet
Inspire
you.
greatness. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Delight. Appreciate
And
it all.
everybody else, go out and sell something.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank